Hello, and welcome to my show, The Thriving Woman. I am your host, Carmel Austin.
Monday, another week, I can't believe I'm counting down the minutes till it's Tuesday. Another day back on.
I will be sharing keys to help you form healthy hearts and boundaries. I'll see you in the show. Welcome to the Thriving Woman podcast show. I just am so thrilled that we are starting out season 3 of the podcast show. I have my beautiful friend Stephaine with me, and the theme to this podcast show is the Proverbs 31 woman. And today, when I was taking some time to sit in the sun and read my Bible and read my little book, I was just really taken back by how Stephaine, my lovely colleague and friend here, is definitely a Proverbs 31 woman. She gets up early and she organises her house because she's a young mum. She is very industrious because she is an author and an editor. I had the absolute privilege of having her share her story in our book, The Artist Haven. So Stephaine not only did that was her 6th book that she shared her story in. But as we developed our friendship and she went on that journey with me, she became an international best-selling author. But that's not what it was about. It was about the friendship beyond the written word and the collaboration and the who we are as entrepreneurs. And you know, as I look at this word today and I look at it and it talks about the Proverbs 31 woman who gets up early and she looks after her home and she uses her hands and she provides for her family. And that's something that, you know, I really wanted to invite Stephaine to share about today with the Thriving Woman. So welcome, Stephaine, to another episode, but it's not just another episode, it's a whole new season of where I've taken that time out to rest and pray and ask God about what this next season that he wanted me to be in. So for those of you who are joining us live with the Hood Radio, or you may be listening to the radio show, welcome to the Thriving Woman. I am thrilled that you are tuning in. And if you tune in live, please make a comment. If you're on Facebook, and say hello, tell us where you're from. We'd love to say hello to you. If you're looking at it later, well, please still make a comment. And, you know, there'll be things there. There's some things that we're offering you that are amazing opportunities for you to come and work with Stephaine and I as well. But really, our whole heart is to encourage you to be diligent, to know that God loves you as his daughters. And you might be a young mum just like Stephaine, and you're juggling life and young children, and you know, you're wanting to provide a good income for your family, and you might even have this deep down desire to write your own book or share your story or even create your own podcast. So we're here to champion you on and say, you know, I'm just a little girl who lives in Australia, who I'm in my office, and Stephaine, you know, she's in the USA, but the amazing ability that we can connect together as sisters, as friends, as colleagues is just such a blessing. So, welcome, Stephanie. And would you like to share a little bit with my audience about the journey on that you are on and how working with me together and what we are doing as that industrious mum really, just hi. I'm really excited.
Yes, absolutely. So I want to just say quickly that if I sound a little bit off, I am kind of recovering from a cold. That's why I have tea here. I know I try not to drink tea when we're doing interviews, but just trying to go with it because ain't nothing stopping me from having my interview time with Carmel for the Thriving Woman because I love it. Those of you that have tuned into her previous seasons, you probably have heard me and you're like, oh, I know that voice. So here we are. Here we go again. Carmen, I love where you're taking your podcast this season. I love how it is becoming an invitation for women to step into the Proverbs 31 woman and what that looks like. And not in terms of, oh, wow, she does a lot. I have to do all of the things. And in my life, I feel like I've just recently started to understand and apply that it's not about me focusing on getting up early, taking care of my husband, taking care of my family, taking care of my children, taking care of my house, taking care of my dogs, all of the things. But it's about what supplies that energy, what sustains me, what gives me that life, what gives me that growth, what gives me that potential is having that fear of the Lord and the understanding and just resting and trusting in Him. So I think when we look at the Proverbs 31 woman, we can get kind of bogged down in this idea of, I need to do all the things. I need to wake up early. I am not a morning person. Guess what, friends? I'm not a morning person either. I like my sleep. I mean, I like getting up early, but I also like sleeping. It's kind of a trade-off there. But I think when we look at, it's not up to us to implement these certain behaviors or tasks or responsibilities, but allow God to use us and allow God to give us the strength and the wisdom and the discernment to carry out those tasks. Then it doesn't become a task. It doesn't become a chore. It becomes an opportunity to serve God and to serve our family. And then if you have that creative calling on your heart, that little pool of, hey, you are a great wife and a great mom, but I have something more for you, then it gives you that opportunity in Him, resting in Him, to expand on that creative calling that God has for you, whether that is being a writing and spiritual growth coach, an editor like myself, whether it is a coach, a podcaster, an author, and all the other things that Carmel is, or something else. I think that one other kind of thing we can get tripped up on is that we have to wait until a certain time or wait until a certain season in order to pursue our calling, in order to live out our purpose, in order to try to understand what we're here for and how what we do can benefit other people. And so I just want to encourage you, those of you who are listening and everything, that the time is now. You can make a difference. You can live out your purpose. You can start to achieve the things that God has placed on your heart right now in your season, even as a mom of young children, even as a wife, even if you are experiencing other responsibilities that seem to pull you away from what God has for you. I promise you that He uses every little thing. And so just a little bit more about how God has kind of used me throughout the different seasons I've been in, specifically leaning on Him in understanding that I get my energy from Him. I get my strength from Him. Apart from Him, I can do nothing, right? In John, it says, I am the vine, you are the branches. Apart from me, you can do nothing. And so leaning into that and pressing into that, and then pressing over that fear of uncertainty and worry and doubt, and just seeing God take me into a level of flourishing that I never imagined possible within the writing and the coaching and the speaking and the meeting Carmel and, co-authoring the book again, number 6, becoming international bestsellers, editing, additional podcast opportunities I've had with her, the course we've had together, I mean, friends, we are the dream team. We call ourselves the dream team, and I firmly stand behind that. I think we need business cards that say we are the dream team. And so I think that that really came by understanding that where my place was and how I was able to serve my family well, love my family well. And then on top of that, I think that I have recently realized that motherhood and this other calling that I have, they're not conflicting. They are not combating. They're not fighting each other, but they're complementary. The perseverance, the strength, the endurance, the patience, all the gentleness, all the fruits of the spirit that are being cultivated in me as I walk out my ministry calling are the same fruits of the spirit that are being cultivated in motherhood. So they are working together in perfect harmony to bring me to where God has me.
Well, folks, you can see why I love collaborating with my beautiful friend Stephanie. She just has so much wisdom and so much. I have seen so much growth in the last few years that we have connected together. I love her heart. I love the way she turns up. I love that the wisdom that comes out of such a young mum's heart and life. And, it's just such a thrill to be able to be working with her. And, Stephanie, in all of that, Stephanie puts 110% into everything that we do together. And I'm sure with all the other things that she's doing with her as a spiritual growth coach, she's putting that into that as well. But I love the way she talks about, that balance of who we are, because I know for myself, folks, when our book came out last year, I was like, oh, we're just going to jump into the next book. And God went, no, you're not. And there was no doors opening, and I needed to rest. When we started out the book, my father had passed away, and then my sister not long after, and it was tiring as well. It took quite a few months to get our book printed on Lulu and Ingram Spark and get it to all the authors around the world. I've still just recently this year sent some books to some of the authors. And doing a co-author book when you're a coach, and, I have such a heart for people, and I want to serve them, and I want to see their stories shine. And so, it was actually only not that long ago that, I was celebrating my first book that I shared my story in, Just Say No. And I just put a little article up on social media and talked about that it was 2 years since that had come out, and it was amazing how quickly that time had gone by. And then I invited some people to join the next book, which Stephanie and I have collaborated on, Courageous Voices Unlocked. And I started getting people messaging me and booking into my calendar. And it was like, God had just opened that door wide. And at the same time, I've been planning these podcast shows, these weekly shows that we're doing. So that's a lot of work, when you're having to get ready, not just for a podcast, you have to be camera ready. So, I'm expanding all of those influences there too. And then, there's another opportunity that God has opened up for me. I had a word over my life last year about 3 doors in front of me, and that when I opened one door, it seemed insignificant, but it would be like a domino effect. So, there's an opportunity as well if you want to earn some extra income, some residual income for your family. I have that opportunity for you as well, where you can come into this amazing community that I'm in, and you can grow and you can learn, and you don't have to message people, you don't have to call them, you actually work smarter. So I'm learning all that and sharing all that with people as well, and people from all around the world are joining in with this opportunity. And I know that the lady who runs it, she is a Christian, but she, like me, has that real heart that everybody is welcome to join. It's about helping everyone with that leg up. So, there might be those mums and dads out there that some fathers may go into the room and kiss their children at 5 o'clock in the morning and know they won't see them when they're asleep at night when they come home. And this is one way that they could build some residual income, and it's their business. So, there's so many things happening in the Thriving Woman this year in 2024. And I'm just thrilled that Stephaine is just so on board. I want to chat a little bit too about the course that Stephaine and I created last year, Birth Your Book from Dream to Reality. And, that's available for you. You can buy that course now. And anybody who is listening to the recording here, we're offering it to you at half price. So there will be a link there and down the bottom, and you'll be able to actually purchase it at half price. And there you will get Stephaine and I being able to help you through that. And we created that course after we produced the Artist Haven, because we had a lot of our authors asking us, we don't know the process. So really, this course has been like a heart thing that Stephaine and I did. It helped her. She moved states with her family, and it just gave me time to breathe and reset and create the course. And that's there for you, available if you want to birth your book from dream to reality. So Stephaine, would you like to talk to our audience about that book and the process of our course, and what that means to you and how that all came alive for us?
Yes, I would. Okay, so the course, Birth Your Book from Dream to Reality, it came from, like Carmel said, it came from the notion that we had authors in the Artist Haven book asking us questions about what behind the scenes look like and what it looks like to self-publish a book. Well, in our mind, it was going to be a simple linear process, right? The whole process of getting the Artist Haven out was going to be simple, pretty straightforward. But that is not how it worked out. So actually, what we ended up doing a lot of in the course is sharing the behind the scenes work, the stuff that we had to deal with, the issues that we had to overcome, the things that we had to find out the hard way, but our pain is your gain. So not to go down this hole, not to travel this direction, how to stay in the line in order to start to get your book to where it needs to be. Now, I will talk real quickly. There are 4 modules of it. There is writing, editing, publishing, and marketing. Yes, made sure I did that in order. Writing, editing, publishing, and marketing. So the writing piece, I'm stepping you through just the writing process itself. So talking about being okay with understanding that a first draft is supposed to be messy. It's supposed to not be polished. It's just supposed to be out on the paper. And then we talk a little bit about how it's not a linear thing. You don't just write a draft, clean it up, and then you present it. But there's a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of ins and outs. So talking about those writing tips and tricks and strategies. Then we move into the editing. Now, as a editor, I'm specifically a developmental editor and a line editor. And if I'm talking over your head, then yes, I understand. Because most people, when you say editing, they think there's just one type of editing, but there's not. And so in this module, we talk about the different types of editing and when you would need what type of editing, as well as what each piece of editing does and where to find that type of editor. So moving from there, we go into the publishing stage. So this is kind of where to publish, what you need, the ISBN number, the cover, all of those things. We kind of compile it for you. Moving into the marketing, we talk about marketing strategies, launch plan, launch team, pre-order, all the things, so many things, so many more things than I even just said now. And I feel like I just said a lot, but honestly, we kind of packaged everything that we did, everything that we wish we would have done differently, and everything that we plan on doing from this point forward. We have packaged it all for you and tied it with a pretty little bow. And we're serving it to you in this course, Birth Your Book from Dream to Reality.
Thank you, Stephaine. That is so true. So, if you do want to jump onto our course, in the course, you can ask questions that we can answer for you along the way. We actually have 5 sessions. We have an introduction as well. And we have one of our lovely ladies, Doris, who did the course with us live. And she gets on there and encourages you as well. And Doris shared her story in the Artist Haven, and she has put a hand up as well to share her story in our next book, Courageous Voices Unlocked. So in our next book, it's sort of like the sequel to the Artist Haven. And when we were writing the Artist Haven, Stephaine came up with this idea that we link the chapters together. So one author introduces the next author. And when I sat down and started to look at all the amazing authors, God gave me 13 authors for this book. And God showed me that each chapter led into the next. And we have our beautiful Latrina who went last, but she actually isn't last because she introduces the next book, Courageous Voices Unlocked. So, with this next book, we're looking for people who want to share this story of moving from brokenness to freedom. You may be an artisan or an artist like us. You may be someone who is in counseling. You may be a leader. You can be we're happy. We've got males as well as females. Tim, in our book, he's a watercolor artist. We have Angie, who I commissioned to paint this beautiful painting for our book, and then I created the rest of it in Canva. And in our course, that's a whole story that we talk about, that things that we don't want you to go down those rabbit holes.
Yes.
We want you to be able to get your book out. 3% of people only ever actually finish their book. So, that's a very small amount of percentage too. So for me to have Stephaine, who's, we're going into our 7th book together, and I know that, for her, and I know she's even writing her own book too. And I'm in the middle of doing that too. I'm, got my kids book and my family heritage book. But, as a coach and a life coach, I love to support people. I love to interview them. I love to bring them on my platform. So over this season of The Thriving Woman, I'm going to be bringing on different co-hosts or guests where we'll be talking about different subjects around the thriving woman and the Proverbs 31 woman. So I'm really thrilled that, all this planning and all these things, and here we are now live sharing with you all the wonderful offerings that we have for you and the things that we have for you. And, if you are, in the process of writing your book and you need an editor, I would totally recommend Stephaine to help you with that. And then we can help you, with the next stages of getting it out there, getting it on Amazon and all of those places, to get your book published and to actually have it in your hands. That is the most amazing feeling, to have your written book in your hands, to be doing your local launches and your launches, around on social media. I love to help people with all of that. So folks, we could talk and talk and talk, but in this episode, I just wanted to come on and talk about the theme of season 3 and all the wonderful things that are coming up with that, and to invite you into our world where we can help you, give you that step up where you're not doing it on your own, and coming onto this platform that God has given me, because all of my artists who and all of my authors who are joining my books get this opportunity to share on my platform as well. In season 2, I interviewed most of my authors. So if you want to go onto Spotify and find The Thriving Woman, or my YouTube channel, Carmel's Garden, all the links will be down below for you to look at. we invite you to, if you're new here or you've heard some of our seasons or you want to work with me as your writing coach or your wholeness coach, I'm absolutely available to chat with you about that. And I know if you want Stephaine to help you with her skills as a writer, it's just so lovely to share this platform with Stephaine. She's just such a delight to work with. So, in closing, Stephaine, do you want to share just one key with my audience about, the journey of motherhood and who we are as writers and who we are as God's women, God's children, and that we are blessed? And, folks, if you've watched any of my other series, I always wear my pearls. My husband gave these to me maybe 10 or 8 years ago for one of our anniversaries. But why I wear them is that when I put them on, I feel like I'm one of God's pearls. I'm one of his children that, he's dug deep into my life, and, he had to go down deep into those recesses of my life. And I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I'm saying, I've had 40 years of being a Christian and God working on my heart and working on my life. And I remember the years I would say, God, why isn't these things happening for me? But I journeyed through a lot of things. I journeyed through a lot of losses and a lot of things in my life. And now this is the season where God is just opening up so many doors. So I want to encourage you that if you're journeying through some really difficult things, we're here for you as well. We understand that. We're not just all polished and beautiful here on the screen, or you may be listening to us. We have gone through some hard things, and we know we've got hard roads ahead. I actually went yesterday and said goodbye to a friend who's been on life support, and recently found out about some neighbours who have passed away. So we're all going through life experiences. But one thing that I've realized, that when I turn up and I share on these podcasts, my spirit comes alive, and I know this is what God has called me to in this season. So again, thank you for joining us on this new season of The Thriving Woman. So Stephaine, please invest some of your amazing it's not change, it's notes into my people, please.
Yeah, no, I think you actually hit on some of the things that I was thinking about. So great minds, as always, think alike. The first thing is, we can get so bogged down in our identity as a wife and a mom, a teacher, a coach, a writer, a cook, whatever. That we forget that first and foremost, our identity is the daughter of the Most High King, right? First and foremost, our identity is from God. God has created us for his purposes, but ultimately we are his chosen daughter. We are the inheritance of him. So to really focus that is our identity, and then the mom and the wife and the coach and all of that is a role that we play. The second thing I want to say about that is that the role that we play as a wife and a mom or an entrepreneur, it's the strength that we get from the joy we have in the Lord that gives us that strength. So as Carmel was talking about the hardship and the pain, and I just thought about kind of holding grief and joy concurrently. And you've seen her, friends. She's going through some really hard things and watching some really painful things in her life right now, but she's here with a smile on her face. That is only possible because the joy of the Lord is her strength. So I think that's the crux right there. You want to know the secret of the Proverbs 31 woman? Whoops, season 1 or season 3 episode early on. This is what it is. It's the joy of the Lord is your strength. And so carrying that and taking that with you, knowing who you are in Christ and knowing that the joy of the Lord is your strength. And that is what carries you for each season. The last and final note I want to make is, and I thought about this earlier too, so I'm glad I'm able to circle back to it, is that if you find yourself in a season of waiting, hello, waiting, so uncomfortable, so frustrating at times, and so painful, know that it's not that you're waiting and doing nothing. A season of waiting is a season of great preparation. great preparing and great pruning, taking away things that are not from God so you can focus more on what God has for you. In my prayers to God, I often say, Lord, remove all of the good things and just give me that great thing that you want me to steward and carry well. So know that if you're in a season of waiting, it's a season of preparation, how you can prepare, how you can continue to worship the Lord, even in those hard times. So my two takeaways for you, as I know we're going to wrap up here, is that the joy of the Lord is your strength, and it is in him and through him that you carry out all of those good works in advance that he's prepared for you to do. Those good works as a wife, as a mom, as a coach, as a writer, as whatever it is. You are only doing that through the power of the Holy Spirit that is working in you and through you. So I hope that is encouraging, friends.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you so much. You know, folks, I really wanted to hone in with Stephanie because she just has those beautiful children, and often she'll be at gymnastics or swimming or doing different things with her children, getting them up and off to school, and she just blesses me that, you know, I've seen such growth in her life as well, where for me, you know, I still live in the same home that I've been here for 35 years, and I'll drive around my streets and I'll think about, you know, my girlfriend's daughter is 29 now, and the years that, you know, when my husband was at work, I would go there and take meals and help her because she has a disability, you know, but, you know, I've watched this young woman grow and just become a confident woman, even through her, you know, she's made it her ability. And that was one of the things that we talked about in the Artist Haven. So if you're someone who is wanting to share your story and you need some encouragement and some guidance from, you know, we've become experts in the field, you'd like to join our next book, Courageous Voices Unlocked, we'd love to hear from you, and we would love to champion your voice and the things that God has given to you in your heart so that you can move into those places with confidence, knowing that you are his chosen one, his daughter or his son. You know, we don't, I know that a lot of our ministry often is towards women, and my show is The Thriving Woman. But, you know, it's not that we are just exclusive to that. It's just that God has given me this incredible platform. And, you know, I haven't always been the thriving woman, and I've had to dig deep. So, you know, thank you again. I'm excited that Stephanie and lots of others will come on with me. But for now, I will say I will see you in another episode of The Thriving Woman. And thank you so much for tuning in and following us. And if you would like to partner with us, there will be some links as well. And if you'd like to come on and partner with me and share your story with my podcast show, there's an invitation with that as well. So there's so many amazing things happening with Carmel's Garden. So God bless you all for now, and you all hear us again next week. God bless. Bye.
Bye.